I think we can all agree that Asta is the strongest anime character. Okay, the physically strongest anime character. Alright, the physically strongest anime character in a magical world, even though they have no magic. Come on, really? Anyways, Black Clover is getting more and more intense as the climax gets closer. Asta is preparing for the final fight with Lucius, getting stronger through training, and it got me thinking, what is his strongest loadout? Like, he has double union mode, he used a 10 reasonably, but if you had to choose one of his swords to take into battle, which one is the strongest and most effective? Let's look at all his weapons and see which is his best. First we have the Demon Slayer sword, and heads up, all the sword names use the word demon in them, so hopefully it doesn't get too confusing. Demon Slayer is also his first sword, the default when he got his grimoire, which a pretty good deal. This big boy is 130 centimeters or 4 feet long, and wide enough to stand on, but more on that later. Demon Slayer can cut through magic due to its anti-magic properties, and when turned to the blunt side, it can reflect spells back. After training with the sword, Asta is able to control the anti-magic in it and fly on it like a knockoff broom, and Libre shows that you can even remotely control the sword and attack at a distance. Demon Slayer can enlarge by condensing the anti-magic around the edges using a move called Black Divider. This greatly increases his range for attacking and has a wider surface area to deflect and dispel magic. Next we have my favorite sword design-wise, the Demon Dweller. I also found this beauty in the dungeon while fighting Sybil the Hedgehog, I mean Mars. You know, got a cool spirit while also got some crusty sword. Seems fair. Demon Dweller has anti-magic, so cutting through magic as per usual. However, this sword can also absorb other people's magic, instead of flying slash attack with the same properties of said absorbed magic. When Noelle was injured, she seemingly sent her magic to Asta, which powered up the sword, while when Lick used the sword, he absorbed Yuno's attack. The range of power it can absorb doesn't seem to have a limit, but the nature of the magic is important. For example, I don't think the sword can absorb conceptual magic like time magic, but physical magic like a fireball or a lightning strike are good to go. Asta could alternatively fill the sword with anti-magic and release that in a slash instead. The Demon Destroyer is probably the most unique sword with a surprisingly complex power. Spoiler alert, it's not the anti-magic that's unique because yeah, it can cut through magic. Surprise, surprise. But before getting to that, let's talk about how Asta literally stole this sword. When fighting with Yuno against Licht, Licht was using this sword doing his elf reincarnation thing, and after decimating them, Asta grabbed the sword and got his freaking crust all over it, and the grandma said, "Oh, that's mine now." Okay, not really important, mini ran over, but come on, he's a thief. Demon Destroyer has the ability Causality Break, which has black tendrils coming from the sword that end spells out of reach, like when Asta uses sword on only one of Ichika's black hole spell, and it traveled to destroy the whole field of them. But there's more. Causality Break isn't an extension of just plain anti-magic. This ability severs the cause and effect relationship of spells. When Asta's family was affected with poison, his normal Demon Slayer sword did nothing, but Demon Destroyer was able to remove it. The magic was the cause, and the poison status was the effect. Boom, fixed. It even undid the reincarnation magic. I feel like this sword is way more powerful than we know, and we should see it more often in the series. Finally, we have the Demon Slasher Katana. Ooh, this is probably the most sword Asta has. Demon Slasher shows another instance of Asta and Libe stealing swords. When fighting Dante, Asta and Yami had to team up. When Yami let Asta borrow his sword, he let his anti-magic consume the sword and shoved it in the grimoire with the rest of them. Tell me I'm wrong, like come on, he's stealing so many swords. More importantly though, Demon Slasher has the ability to make selective slashes, meaning Asta can choose who gets hurt by the flying slash, keeping those he wants to protect safe. Other than that, the sword functions like all the others. Now that we've gone through every sword, it's time to decide which is the strongest. Drumroll please. The Demon Dweller. Wait, what? Those words mean nothing to you because every sword has the word demon in it? Oh, okay. It's this bad boy. Now I bet this wasn't the sword you were expecting, and each weapon has their own advantages, but Demon Dweller just edged out the others. Demon Slayer is Asta's biggest sword, giving him increased mobility with his flying, and a crazy range when using Black Divider. But with double union mode, Asta is able to fly, and the range is made up through the flying slashes of Demon Dweller. The causality break of Demon Destroyer is very unique, and no other sword can replicate the cause and effect anti-magic. But those situations were very rare, and in both occasions, it was magic that didn't affect Asta. If it was a one-on-one, using poison magic or any cause and effect magic takes time, allowing him to strike. I was imagining Causality Break would be a great counter to time magic, but in chapter 333, we see that Asta was able to break free of Lucius' freezing time without any sword, so it just becomes redundant. And the Demon Slasher katana only has the selective slashes, but unless there are hostages or many people on the battlefield, this sword, just like the rest, doesn't stand out too much. Demon Dweller can increase its range through the flying slashes and even has some defensive abilities through absorbing magic. On top of that, it can spit the spell right back at the person. It's a very well-rounded weapon compared to the others, making it very effective and incredibly strong. Well, what do you guys think? Was I right, or do you think there's another sword I should have gotten first place? Are you just excited for the final fight between Lucius and Asta as I am? Put your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright, peace.